Thank you, Chairman Meeks, Ranking Member McCall, and members of the committee for this opportunity to discuss the Peace Corps' budget request of $410.5 million. Thank you as well for your continued bipartisan support, most recently reflected in your passage of the Peace Corps Reauthorization Act. As the Peace Corps celebrates its 60th anniversary, we are building on a solid foundation to meet this historic moment and to set the stage for the next 60 years. Our primary focus is to safely return volunteers to service and to apply our resources in combating the impacts of COVID-19, which are disproportionately affecting countries where volunteers serve. Throughout our history, we've responded and adapted to evolving conditions when countries have requested support, when communism fell across Eastern Europe, when apartheid ended in South Africa, when civil wars ceased in places like El Salvador and Liberia. Over the past 60 years, we've also made significant contributions to large-scale public health efforts. In the 60s and 70s, it was smallpox vaccination. In the 80s, guinea worm eradication. Since the early 90s, HIV and malaria prevention. Then Ebola, and now we are supporting COVID-19 response and recovery. We have been and will be at the last mile, reaching some of the most isolated and underserved populations. Congressional support is vital as the Peace Corps returns to this service in a fundamentally changed world. The pandemic has set back years of development progress and produced unprecedented challenges. It has also underscored our world's profound interdependence and shared future. Recovery will require international cooperation, not only at the government level, but also at the community level. And that is where the Peace Corps, as a trusted community partner, will return to service in new and time-tested ways. With our in-depth understanding of pandemic trends and deep experience in managing complex conditions overseas, we are confident in our ability to safely return volunteers to service and have begun the process of inviting volunteers back to countries that meet our extensive medical, security, programmatic, and logistical requirements. But we have not waited for the return of volunteers to respond to urgent needs. Earlier this year, we partnered with FEMA to deploy volunteers to assist with critical vaccination efforts here in the United States. And worldwide, Peace Corps staff have stepped up to develop new models and leverage technology to address a variety of pandemic-related challenges. As just one example, our virtual service pilot has connected over 240 returned volunteers with partners in 27 countries. With growing interest, there is great potential for virtual service to reduce financial, health, and other barriers to volunteering and to reach communities once considered inaccessible. Importantly, we've used this time to redouble our commitment to intercultural competence, diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility, to bolster our support systems for volunteers, and to critically adapt our programming. ICDE-I&A is at the core of who we are and what we do. Our approach encourages deep humility and builds transferable skills as our staff and volunteers partner at a grassroots level with people from 64 different countries. In addition, we have significantly increased representation within the Peace Corps, but we know we have more work to do to build stronger systems and support structures. In fiscal year 22, we will be expanding outreach, removing barriers, and dedicating funding to advance these priorities. We are also proactively upgrading our IT, security incident management, and project reporting systems, as well as strengthening policies and procedures around volunteer health and safety. We are deeply committed to mitigating risk wherever possible, to supporting victims of crime, including sexual assault, and to providing trauma-informed care when crimes do occur. To this end, we are introducing new agency-wide protocols, expanding compliance and quality assurance staffing, and systematically implementing recommendations. As we continue to reimagine service and rebuild, we are mindful of the many divides in privilege, access, and opportunity exposed over the last 19 months. Peace Corps is poised to contribute its hallmark, last-mile support in partnership with communities around the world to overcome these challenges. The President's budget request and the committee's support strengthens our ability to adapt in this uncertain environment and to make critical investments in the programs, systems, and resources needed to return volunteers safely to service and to meet this historic moment. Thank you, and I look forward to your questions.